This was me with my new Mac back in 2021. It was a great time. I had bought the Mac because I had become an owner operator, and the guy I was signing on to had great experience and was going to teach me how to be an owner operator. Well, I'm going to tell a little bit of that story all the way up to the point where I just sold the Mac, who I sold it to, where it's going to go, everything behind all of that, and all the feelings that comes along with it. And yes, there are feelings about semi trucks. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to make a huge announcement that you're only going to hear one time, and it's only going to be on this video. So if you don't watch it, you won't hear it. Alright guys, welcome back to 2025. This is John now. That was John then. So in this video, like I said, I'm going to tell you about the Mac, and then I have an announcement. So the Mac is sold. I bought it originally back in 2021. I was going to go to work for a carrier that was very good and understood the business very well, and I was going to learn. I had been a company driver before that, and I really wanted to go into being an owner operator. At that point, I was thinking of becoming an authority eventually, having trucks, that growing that way. Didn't end up being that way, hindsight being 2020, but what it did do is it taught me a lot, and that Mac was a large part of my growth as a truck driver, as a human being, in social media, all across the board. So that Mac, I call it Mac Daddy because it pretty much fathered who I am today. And it's a bittersweet thing seeing it go. So I bought the Mac, I drove it for that contract for about a year. And then I went to Landstar where I drove it for about another year, I think it was a little over a year. And then it blew a turbo. I didn't realize their turbo had went, and I ended up, it was the depth filter, but it wasn't. It blew a seal in the depth filter, which was blowing air out because of all the stuff coming off the turbo, all the soot, clogged it up. Long story. Ended up replacing that entire system. That wasn't the problem. Ended up, it was going to cost me thousands and thousands more to fix the turbo, which I couldn't afford to do. So now my truck was stranded in North Carolina, and so was I. Luckily, some guys from church came and got me, brought me home. I spent Thanksgiving that year and Christmas with my family. Behind the scenes, I was trying to get a turbo and trying to get all that taken care of and trying to get money arranged. All that fell through. Couldn't get it done. So my truck sat in North Carolina. I went and took another company job because I had to work. So that's what happened there. Fast forward about a year and a half later, I finally got the Mac brought down. About the same time I became an owner operator again. Got the Mac 2020 Anthem that you guys have seen in the videos, which, keep watching, big announcement, but keep watching. At the end of all of that, I have to say it's kind of bittersweet. The strangest thing happened. As you're watching right here, they're hooking up the Mac to take it out. When they had to come get it, right here I'll show you a picture of, it was sitting, a Jeep right in front of it, and right behind it, and then right in front of it was a curb. I had to get that Jeep moved to get it towed out, but I couldn't find the owners of the Jeep, and that was a whole ordeal. Well, ended up they put a tow tag on it to get the Jeep moved, and the Jeep never got moved. The guy was in the military. I didn't know that until the day before it got towed. The guy was in the military and he was just not home, and his wife was in another part of the country. So there was nothing I could do, either get it towed or find out the tow truck driver could figure out a way to move my truck without affecting their car. Being the guy was in the military, I kind of felt bad. Didn't want to get him towed, have him pay for it especially. So when the tow truck driver came, in the video you'll see it, the first video, you'll see that the Jeep is backed up to the back of my truck. So it's actually like this. It's actually like that. So they had to move my truck like this and then tow it out backwards this way. And that's what you're watching behind me right there. It was quite an ordeal, and that Mac's meant a lot to me over the years. You've seen it on my channel multiple times. It was, like I said, the beginning, and this is basically the beginning of the end, which is going to start a new beginning. But now that I've said all that, my daughter and her friend would like to say something on a video, so they're choosing this video. So I'm going to give them the floor. Let them say what they got to say, and then I'll be right back.
Please subscribe to Driving John and hit that like button right now. demolish that like button. Assault battery that like button.
Make sure you check out Driving with John on all my other platforms. YouTube, TikTok, you name it, I got it. Check me out.
You gotta love my kids, right? And their friends, apparently. But yeah, I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you. So yeah, there was a bunch of chaotic stuff, and we got it all hooked up. We finally got it turned sideways, got it hooked up. I didn't do any of it. I just watched. I'm not gonna lie. The tow truck driver was a great guy. He understood how to do it. He basically just picked up the rear tires and turned it a little bit, picked up the rear tires, turned it a little bit more, picked up the rear tires, turned it a little bit more, and then he kind of pushed me forward and I turned it, which, by the way, not power steered, obviously, because it didn't start. So, whew, man, really gave it a try out there. But we finally did get it turned, and as you saw, he's hooking it up. And the cap that goes on the top, when they towed it down here from North Carolina, they did take it off because that would have been over height. So they took it off, and as you can see, we set it on the back of the Mack, kind of sitting on the tires into fairings a little bit. So what he had to do was he had to strap that all down in order to make a safe trip, and then he picked up the rear end so that it's sitting on the tires up against like this, so that the tires aren't going to be turning. It's not going to affect it. So then, you know, he hooked all that up and got all that moved out, and then he hooked it up, and we got to watch my Mack go.
Bye-bye, Mac.
In an ironic turn of fate, my mic died as I was finishing that video, so I'm reshooting the end right now. The big announcement. Time to do that, right? So, something ironic really happened the day that my mic left. It was May 14th. Needless fact, that kind of ties into this. I got my CDL originally on May 14th. So, it was like start on May 14th, end on May 14th. Yes, you heard me right, end on May 14th. So I'm semi-retired or retiring from a semi. I don't know how you look at it, but basically I got called by God to work with a lot of local churches on their social media. So that is my new venture. Don't get me wrong, I'm staying with Driving with John because I do really love the trucking industry, and I think it gets a bad shake in our social media. So I'm taking it upon myself to help that reputation any way I can, and to help truckers any way I can with Driving with John. And by supporting it, you're supporting truckers, and now you're going to be supporting what I'm doing and helping churches with their social media. So I'm no longer in a truck, but I'm sticking with Driving with John. That's my big announcement, guys. I'm going to be working for God and working for you guys. So it's like a dream job for me. Hopefully everything goes well, and you won't see any difference in content. I'll still be putting out funny and, you know, good stuff that you guys enjoy. Addictive shorts and off the wall long forms like I do. None of that will change. So guys, always remember, I'm John, and that's my superpower. And truckers are people too. See you on the next video. Driving with John is coming through!